The human warrior woke to the harsh glow of alien skies, his ship a twisted wreck behind him. Sharp crystalline peaks pierced the horizon, reflecting strange neon colors that made his armor feel primitive. Shadows moved unnaturally along the jagged terrain. He struggled to his feet, muscles aching, heart pounding from the crash. Alien creatures prowled in the distance, their eyes reflecting like molten fire. He drew his blade, scanning for threats, knowing he was alone but not helpless. Every step on the jagged rocks made a ringing sound, a reminder that this world belonged to beings far different from humans. He had trained for hostile environments, but nothing could prepare him for the unnatural beauty and danger of this planet. A sudden noise above made him look up, and he froze. From a high balcony carved from shimmering crystal, a figure watched him. She was lithe and poised, wearing garments that shimmered like liquid metal, her eyes sharp, calculating. Her lips curved in a mocking smile. "So fragile," she said, her voice musical but cruel. "Do you even know how to fight, human?" The warrior's jaw tightened. "I fight to survive, not to please alien royalty," he said, his voice steady, refusing to show fear. The figure tilted her head, amusement flashing across her face. "We'll see," she whispered. Below, guards in bioluminescent armor encircled him silently, weapons at the ready. Their movements were fluid, unnatural, precise. He recognized immediately that these were elite troops, loyal to the one above, and every instinct screamed that submission was expected. He knew that yielding could save his life, but his pride would not allow it. The balcony figure raised her hand, and the guards froze, waiting. A booming voice cut through the alien wind, rich and commanding, reverberating through the crystal peaks. "Kneel now." The words carried weight, authority, and a threat of instant destruction if ignored. The warrior's grip on his blade tightened, knuckles white, yet he did not move to obey. Pride, training, and survival instincts fused into a single decision. The princess on the balcony laughed softly, clearly delighted by his defiance. Her laughter carried a note of curiosity, a hint that this human intrigued her beyond mere amusement. She stepped closer to the edge, eyes locked on him, analyzing every movement, every micro-expression. Her mother's voice echoed again, sterner this time. "Kneel, or face the consequences." The human warrior exhaled slowly, every muscle tense, every sense sharpened. He could see the subtle ripple of energy along the guard's armor, the faint glow of their weapons charging. One wrong move, and his life would end. He assessed the terrain, the distance, the timing, looking for even the smallest advantage. His mind, trained for battle, processed possibilities faster than any human eye could follow. The princess tilted her head, intrigued, as he did not kneel. She whispered something almost inaudible, a taunt hidden beneath curiosity, testing him further. The wind shifted, carrying strange scents of alien flora and ozone. The human warrior felt the pulse of the planet, a rhythm of danger and opportunity. Every instinct screamed caution, yet every fiber of his being rebelled against submission. The balcony figure's expression shifted subtly, no longer purely mocking, a flicker of interest replacing scorn. The warrior's gaze never wavered, steady and unwavering, showing a courage that was rare in any world, alien or human. The crystal peaks around them refracted light in strange patterns, throwing dazzling, disorienting reflections across the battlefield below. He recognized the psychological warfare at play, intimidation, threat, and spectacle combined to force compliance. Yet, he remained calm, every heartbeat measured, every breath deliberate. The princess leaned slightly forward, her laughter gone now, replaced by a sharp, analytical curiosity. "So, you will not kneel," she said, more a statement than a question. The human warrior's eyes met hers. "Not until I have earned the right," he replied. Her lips curved, not in mockery this time, but in recognition. Below, the guards shifted, sensing the growing tension, uncertain whether to strike or obey the strange, unspoken rules between the two. The queen's voice thundered again, now tinged with impatience. "Kneel," Show respect to your betters, or die. The warrior's body moved instinctively, subtle foot adjustments, blade angled for defense, stance firm. He was a singular presence of human resolve, defiance tempered by skill and experience. He was alone, yes, but he carried the weight of a species known for persistence and adaptability, and that weight pressed down in every movement he made. The princess observed him closely, seeing more than brute strength. She saw patience, calculation, and courage, a combination foreign to her court, yet familiar to her instincts. A flicker of movement in the distance drew their attention, shadows moving across the neon terrain, distant but ominous. The human warrior noted it immediately, every muscle ready, every sense engaged. The princess's eyes followed his, curiosity deepening as she realized this human was not merely a captive to amuse her. He was a survivor. A threat, perhaps, but also a puzzle. The queen's voice faded slightly as other alarms sounded across the palace. Something was approaching, something unanticipated, a rogue faction moving silently in orbit. The princess leaned back slightly, tension threading her expression. The warrior, sensing it too, did not flinch. He had trained for unpredictability, for threats unseen, for moments when odds were stacked impossibly against him. The human warrior and the alien princess regarded each other silently for a moment, tension thick, unspoken understanding forming. The queen's command had not been obeyed, yet he had survived, and both princess and warrior knew that the coming trials would test them beyond mockery, beyond arrogance, beyond fear. Shadows stretched long over the crystalline landscape, winds whispered strange alien calls, and the human warrior tightened his grip on his blade. Neither kneeling nor yielding, he stood ready, every fiber of him alive, prepared to meet whatever came next. The sky above the palace flared with sudden explosions, the calm of alien skies shattered by streaks of energy and thunderous impacts. The rogue faction had arrived, slipping past orbital defenses with precision only seasoned strategists could achieve. The warrior's eyes narrowed, analyzing the movements, the trajectory of the incoming attacks, every possible landing point of enemy crafts. His mind raced, calculating angles, timing, and probability. The princess watched from her perch, tension threading every line of her body. Her amusement was gone, replaced with a focused, sharp intelligence assessing the unfolding chaos. Alien guards scrambled, but their training lacked creativity. They followed protocol without thought. The warrior moved among them, subtle gestures, whispered instructions, demonstrating maneuvers that combined instinct with improvisation. Human ingenuity became a weapon as guards adjusted positions, used terrain for cover, and set traps with materials at hand. Energy beams struck crystal walls, sending fragments into the air, shimmering like deadly rain. The princess observed every motion, noticing the warrior's calm under fire, the way he anticipated threats before they materialized. Her curiosity transformed into admiration, though she would never admit it aloud. The queen's voice roared through the palace, demanding order, obedience, submission, but the human warrior's presence disrupted that rigid hierarchy. He did not kneel. He coordinated, adapted, and survived, turning panic into calculated defense. Explosions forced the princess to step down from her balcony, joining the warrior in the field. Her movements were precise, lethal, but different from the guards. She combined agility, intellect, and observation. The warrior recognized her potential immediately, and without a word, he adjusted their positioning to complement her skill. Together, they became an unspoken unit, improvising in real time. A squadron of rogue attackers breached the outer walls, expecting a disorganized response. The warrior anticipated their approach, leading them into a corridor where crystal formations created a natural trap. He whispered commands, the guards acting with instinct and precision they had never known. The aliens fell into the trap, energy beams bouncing unpredictably, controlled explosions sending them reeling. The princess watched, impressed by his foresight, adapting her movements to exploit the situation. Together, they neutralized threat after threat, the rogue faction stunned by coordination they could not predict. The queen, still shouting from her vantage point, realized her control slipping as her daughter and this human manipulated the battlefield. Tension surged between mother and daughter, authority challenged by competence. The warrior observed patterns in the enemy's behavior, weak points in their formations, and subtle overconfidence born from underestimating human adaptability. Using minimal resources, he redirected attacks, lured forces into traps, and caused confusion that allowed the alien defenders to regroup. The princess followed his lead, demonstrating agility, strategy, and courage that even her mother would have considered extraordinary. Communications between the rogue faction faltered as their calculations failed against unpredictability, an advantage born from human intuition. Each move the warrior made was precise, calculated, and unyielding, showcasing resilience that surpassed any technology the attackers brought. The palace itself became a weapon, its structures leveraged for cover, ambushes, and traps. The princess learned quickly, absorbing tactics, adjusting on the fly, realizing the human warrior was a teacher in combat strategy. Explosions lit her face in brief flashes, determination replacing mockery, focus replacing curiosity. As the battle raged, the warrior's stamina and clarity of thought inspired those around him, alien guards acting beyond their rigid training. They executed maneuvers he suggested, combining brute force with ingenuity, a harmony born from trust and rapid adaptation. The rogue factions advanced slowed, confusion mounting, their own technology turning against them in unforeseen ways. The princess and the warrior moved together, instinctively covering each other, leveraging weaknesses, striking decisively. Her laughter had vanished. Her focus was total. She no longer mocked him, and perhaps, for the first time, she respected the human spirit. The queen's voice thundered again, demanding submission, demanding compliance, but the warrior ignored it, his actions speaking louder than obedience ever could. Another wave of attackers breached the inner courtyard, expecting easy victory, yet found themselves ensnared by traps crafted moments before. The warrior's mind worked in constant motion, predicting the enemy's next move before they acted, human intuition a weapon the aliens could not counter. The princess mirrored him, fluid, precise, deadly in combination with his guidance. She moved with calculated grace, setting ambushes, intercepting energy blasts, striking at critical points. The guards adapted, watching her and the warrior, learning speed, unpredictability, and ingenuity. The rogue faction faltered, morale breaking. Realizing this was not a typical human engagement, they were facing unpredictable intelligence combined with courage. The palace walls bore scars, crystals shattered, energy flowing unpredictably, yet the defenders held, rallying under leadership that transcended rank. The princess glanced at the warrior, her eyes briefly revealing the recognition of trust, respect, and shared purpose. He met her gaze with calm defiance, unshaken by authority, focused on survival and victory. Explosions subsided, rogue crafts retreating, but the threat remained looming. The warrior assessed damage, resources, and enemy patterns, preparing for the next inevitable assault. The princess, standing beside him, realized that her perspective of humans had shifted, respect replacing scorn, curiosity transforming into admiration. The queen, watching from her throne, recognized the effectiveness of the human warrior, but could not fully acknowledge it aloud. Tension remained, but a new understanding had formed between princess and human, a bond forged in fire and chaos. The rogue faction had been repelled temporarily, yet their return was certain, stronger and more relentless. The warrior stood among shattered crystals and alien debris, calm and alert, the symbol of human resilience in a world designed to suppress him. The princess, agile and poised, prepared alongside him, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. They were an unlikely pair, forced into alliance by necessity, trust and skill creating an unspoken code. The palace was scarred, the air charged with anticipation, but the warrior remained a singular presence of determination and courage. He had survived against impossible odds, defied authority, and inspired alien defenders to rise beyond their programming. The princess understood that this human represented something extraordinary: ingenuity, bravery, and the indomitable spirit of his species. The sky above, once shattered by chaos, began to quiet, a brief lull in the storm, giving them time to regroup, to prepare for the challenges still to come. Shadows stretched across the crystalline terrain, energy crackling faintly from damaged structures, the rogue threat looming like a storm on the horizon. Both warrior and princess stood ready, unbowed, undeterred, a fragile alliance born from fire and necessity, signaling that the battle for survival had only just begun. The palace still hummed with residual energy from the battle, the air thick with tension and the smell of scorched crystal. The warrior moved through corridors once pristine, now fractured, every step measured, scanning for threats or weaknesses in the structure that could be exploited. Alien guards looked to him, hesitating, uncertain if they should follow the rules they had always known or adapt to the logic of this human who had turned chaos into strategy. The princess shadowed him, silent but alert, every movement precise, her sharp eyes tracking his decisions, analyzing his reasoning, learning from his approach. She had long ago dismissed mockery. Now, respect had replaced it, and an unspoken understanding formed between them. "We need to reinforce perimeter points before the rogue faction returns," the warrior said, voice calm but firm. He gestured to damaged crystal conduits and energy nodes, showing alien guards where to reroute power and fortify weak points. They executed his orders with uncertainty, but slowly. Efficiency replaced doubt. The princess observed the human's method, noticing subtle innovations, techniques no alien had considered, adaptations that balanced risk and reward. "You think too far ahead for them," she murmured. "Perhaps," he replied, "but strategy is useless without action." They moved together through damaged halls, the glow from fractured crystals casting shifting shadows. The queen's presence was looming, felt more than heard, her authority still pressed down, though fractured by necessity. The warrior anticipated her scrutiny, ignoring it, focused on preparing for the inevitable return of their enemies. Every movement he made reinforced the alien guard's confidence, every command executed precisely, demonstrating that humans could overcome chaos not through brute force alone but through calculated reasoning and adaptability. The princess began to contribute beyond observation, offering suggestions, minor corrections, adjustments that subtly enhanced his plans. A bond of mutual respect solidified, each recognizing skill and insight in the other. "This will not be easy," she admitted. "They will come stronger, better prepared." He nodded, adjusting energy flow through compromised conduits to maximize defensive potential. "Then we make it harder than they expect. They rely on predictability. We exploit unpredictability." HFY emphasis radiated from his words, human ingenuity, improvisation, and courage shaping outcomes in an alien environment. The palace was a maze, damaged and unpredictable, yet they turned every fracture, every shattered crystal, into opportunity. The warrior demonstrated techniques combining environmental awareness with tactical timing, human creativity compensating for technological inferiority. Alien guards followed, some hesitant, but most inspired, moving beyond rigid protocol. The princess observed the ripple effect, realizing her people could learn, could adapt, could survive challenges they had never faced before. A subtle warning echoed from deep in the palace, structural integrity weakening in critical sectors. The warrior noted it instantly, redirecting guards to stabilize key supports. The princess mirrored his attention to detail, taking initiative, protecting him from potential hazards, a silent acknowledgement of their growing partnership. "You've changed the way they see themselves," she said quietly. "And you've changed the way I see this war," he replied. There was no time for sentiment, yet their exchange carried the weight of understanding forged in crisis. Outside, faint signals indicated movement of rogue forces, faint at first, but growing steadily. The warrior analyzed patterns, anticipating routes, calculating possible ambush points. He delegated tasks efficiently, pairing alien guards with complementary roles, human logic guiding alien instincts. The princess contributed, adjusting strategies with a keen eye for nuance, subtly introducing improvisation without breaking protocol entirely. Every preparation carried urgency. Failure was not an option. As night fell over the alien landscape, luminescent flora casting ghostly light, they completed fortifications. Energy conduits hummed with redirected power, traps primed, defensive points reinforced. The warrior paused, surveying the results, satisfaction tempered by awareness of the looming threat. The princess stood beside him, arms crossed, eyes scanning horizon lines. "We are ready," he said simply. "But ready does not guarantee survival," she countered. They shared a brief nod, unspoken acknowledgement that the coming trial would define them both. The alien guards, once rigid and unsure, now moved with confidence, executing complex maneuvers guided by human insight. Even the queen, observing from a distance, could not ignore the transformation. Her daughter had become a competent strategist, and a human had reshaped the efficiency of her forces. The warrior reviewed every defensive node, predicting points of strain, ensuring no detail went unexamined. The princess shadowed him, contributing adjustments that reflected growing tactical intuition. A distant signal reached them. Rogue faction fleets preparing final assault, approaching at high velocity. The warrior recalculated probabilities, adjusted trap sequences, and reinforced positions, human logic optimizing alien technology. The princess nodded in approval, subtle pride showing, though her expression remained composed. "They will not expect this," he said, surveying the fortified palace. "That is our advantage," she replied. The queen's voice thundered faintly through calm channels, demanding updates, but the warrior's focus remained on strategy, preparation, and survival, ignoring commands that conflicted with logic and efficiency. As the alien forces prepared, tension mounted, a quiet before the storm. The warrior and princess moved through final checks, silent coordination, seamless communication, anticipating threats before they arrived. They were no longer teacher and observer but a team, human and alien instinct fused into a cohesive unit. Every guard, every trap, every defensive measure reflected their combined strategy. The rogue faction approached, unaware of the adaptation and ingenuity awaiting them. Shadows of approaching crafts stretched across the terrain, and energy flares illuminated the horizon. The warrior exhaled slowly, calm yet alert, every sense ready, every plan accounted for. The princess observed silently, eyes sharp, every move a combination of learned tactics and instinctive adaptation. They were prepared, but neither underestimated the enemy. The coming battle would test every calculation, every improvisation, every skill honed in fire and chaos. Yet, the human warrior stood unwavering, embodying the principle that intelligence, courage, and adaptability could turn the tide against superior numbers and technology. The princess, beside him, reflected that perhaps humans were not merely fragile, amusing creatures, but beings capable of redefining the battlefield through ingenuity and resolve. They had transformed the palace defenses, the guards, and even the perception of leadership, proving that collaboration between species, trust, and adaptability could create strength beyond the sum of its parts. As night deepened, luminescent light casting eerie patterns over fractured crystal, warrior and princess stood ready, allies forged through trial, a bond of respect and skill that would face the final assault together. The rogue faction descended rapidly, their crafts slicing through alien skies, energy beams streaking across fractured terrain. Every element of the palace was primed for engagement, yet anticipation tightened muscles and sharpened senses. The human warrior assessed each approach, identifying vulnerabilities, plotting ambushes, and anticipating enemy formations before they arrived. The princess moved alongside him, agile, confident, her movements complementing his strategy with fluid precision. She intercepted energy blasts, directed defenders, and exploited terrain advantages with instinct and intelligence. Together, they became a force the rogue faction had not predicted. Unpredictable, coordinated, and lethal. Explosions erupted in rapid succession, the palace shaking as energy strikes collided with crystal barriers. Alien defenders, once hesitant and rigid, followed the warriors' guidance seamlessly, executing maneuvers that turned potential devastation into tactical advantage. The warrior anticipated enemy overconfidence, setting traps that forced attackers into choke points where the princess could strike decisively. Their combined presence elevated morale, the alien troops moving beyond programmed obedience to adaptive engagement. The queen watched from a fortified position, initially skeptical, then astonished as her daughter executed strategies that defied traditional doctrine. The human warrior demonstrated calculated risk, leveraging human ingenuity against technological superiority, turning even compromised structures into advantages. Rogue forces faltered repeatedly, unable to predict the human mind and alien adaptability working in concert. The princess adapted on the fly, modifying plans mid-combat, her movements precise and effective, reflecting lessons absorbed from the warriors calm under fire. Explosions illuminated her face intermittently, revealing focus and determination. The warrior led a tactical strike on the largest enemy contingent, using minimal resources for maximum impact, forcing retreat and disarray. He coordinated with the princess, timing maneuvers perfectly, using her skills to neutralize the enemy's most dangerous units. Alien troops, inspired by the human example, executed bold actions beyond their training, demonstrating adaptability and courage. The rogue faction, struggling to regain control, faltered under unanticipated tactics, their superior numbers failing to compensate for human-led innovation. The princess and warrior moved fluidly among defenders, anticipating attacks, setting traps, and exploiting enemy weaknesses, their synergy seamless. Strategic points were reinforced in real time, energy conduits redirected, and defensive nodes adjusted mid-battle with efficiency unmatched by the invaders. The queen, observing the outcome, felt conflicting emotions, awe at the warrior's capabilities, pride in her daughter's leadership, and frustration at the necessity of acknowledging human ingenuity. The battle reached its climax as the rogue faction attempted a concentrated assault on the palace's core. The warrior calculated their timing, diverted energy flows, and set explosive traps precisely where they would be most effective. The princess executed simultaneous maneuvers, intercepting key enemy units and creating openings for decisive strikes. Alien guards followed instructions with perfect coordination, the combined force moving like a single organism, human and alien instincts merged into one. The rogue faction faltered under pressure, their formations breaking, command disrupted, morale collapsing as every calculated advantage was turned against them. Explosions, energy discharges, and chaos engulfed the battlefield, yet the warrior remained calm, assessing, adjusting, and executing strategies with unyielding precision. The princess mirrored him, her agility and intellect amplifying every action, striking decisively at critical points. Rogue crafts were destroyed, soldiers incapacitated, their advance halted completely. Silence followed, punctuated by faint hums of damaged energy systems and distant structural creaks. The warrior exhaled, alert but aware the battle was won. The princess stood beside him, surveying the aftermath, her expression unreadable yet thoughtful. Alien defenders regrouped, exhausted but inspired, acknowledging the guidance that had turned near defeat into victory. The queen, unable to deny the impact of the human warrior, allowed herself a measured nod, recognizing strength, intelligence, and leadership irrespective of species. The warrior, bloodied but unbowed, had proven that courage, ingenuity, and adaptability could triumph over superior technology and numbers. The princess looked at him, understanding that her prior mockery had given way to respect, and that the alliance forged in necessity had created a bond rooted in skill, trust, and shared purpose. Together, they moved among the defenders, ensuring stability, tending to injured guards, and reinforcing strategic points, demonstrating collaboration that transcended language, culture, and species. The rogue faction, routed and demoralized, retreated, leaving the palace scarred but secure. The warrior's actions had become legend among the alien troops, human resilience and creativity inspiring a new perspective on strength. The princess, having absorbed these lessons firsthand, reconsidered her place within the empire, her approach to leadership tempered by collaboration and insight. The queen, witnessing the transformation in both her daughter and the palace defenders, recognized the subtle shift in authority, acknowledging that adaptability and courage were as vital as tradition. As the skies cleared, faint auroras reflecting off shattered crystal peaks, the warrior and princess shared a silent moment of understanding. Words were unnecessary. Their combined effort had spoken louder than any command. The human had not only survived, he had changed the battlefield, the defenders, and even the perspective of royalty. The princess, once mocking and aloof, had embraced partnership, blending her intelligence and agility with human ingenuity to secure victory. The palace, though damaged, stood resilient, a testament to strategy, courage, and unexpected alliances. The warrior surveyed the horizon, knowing that threats would return, but confident in the knowledge that human determination and resourcefulness had left an indelible mark on alien forces. The princess adjusted defensive systems with efficiency, her prior arrogance replaced by disciplined focus, understanding the value of collaboration. The queen remained distant, observing but silent, her authority intact yet tempered by recognition of the warrior's influence. Shadows stretched across crystalline terrain as calm settled over the palace, a fragile but enduring peace forged from fire, conflict, and strategy. The warrior had endured, inspired, and adapted, proving that human spirit could confront alien might and reshape outcomes. The princess, beside him, had transformed as well, her intelligence sharpened by necessity, her respect for human ingenuity deepened. Together, they had forged an alliance that transcended cultural boundaries, demonstrating that courage, skill, and adaptability were universal forces capable of changing even the strictest hierarchy. As night enveloped the alien world, luminescent light from fractured crystals cast a gentle glow over the palace. The warriors stood vigilant, aware that vigilance and preparation were eternal. The princess mirrored him, poised, disciplined, prepared to defend or act with precision when needed. They had survived, adapted, and triumphed, leaving a lasting testament to what humans could achieve in alien realms: resilience, ingenuity, and the capacity to inspire change. The rogue faction's retreat was definitive, yet their potential return remained a shadow over the horizon. Still, the palace defenders had been transformed, alien guards now capable of improvisation and adaptive strategy under guidance previously unconsidered. The warrior and princess, allies born from chaos, surveyed the aftermath, acknowledging silently that their combined strength had redefined expectations. The queen, though reluctant, permitted this recognition, aware that the human had proven a force beyond mockery, a living embodiment of courage, strategy, and human indomitability. The skies, now calm, reflected both the destruction endured and the hope forged in its wake. The warrior and princess stood ready, vigilant, partners in defense, emblematic of the alliance that had emerged from necessity but persisted through respect, skill, and unyielding determination. The human spirit had prevailed, leaving an enduring mark upon alien eyes and hearts, a reminder that ingenuity and courage could triumph even in worlds not built for humanity. Shadows faded, energy systems stabilized, and the palace endured, a monument to survival, adaptation, and the unforeseen power of collaboration. Together, they faced the horizon, prepared for the unknown, their bond cemented, their legacy established, and the warrior's defiance and ingenuity immortalized among allies who had once questioned his presence.